Welcome to the BASE Practice Exam course demonstration. The Practice Exam course is a free UF e-learning course designed by Biotility to help BASE candidates prepare for both the knowledge and the practical portions of the exam. This tutorial is intended for BASE exam site personnel and will focus on course navigation, course content, and student results. We strongly encourage all exam site personnel working with BASE candidates to review the content of the BASE Practice Exam course and determine the best way to implement this resource for your candidates. A few disclaimers before we begin. Please note that scores obtained from practice exams are not valid for high-stake decision-making. Practice exam results are intended to be used by the exam site for planning instruction only. Exam sites are responsible for notifying Biotility if access to this course or to the student data included in it needs to be revoked. And thirdly, the BASE Practice Exam course is the property of Biotility and the University of Florida and copyrighted under the laws of the United States. Copying, reproducing, or exporting its contents without written permission from Biotility is unlawful. In order to access the practice exam course, the following actions must be completed. First, the exam site must complete the exam registration form on the Biotility website. Once registered, Biotility will provide access to the practice exam course through an enrollment link. Exam sites should then distribute the enrollment link to users. And finally, users must enroll and create a UF Quick Reg account. Once these steps are complete, users may then log into UF eLearning through the UF Quick Reg login page. Instructions for these processes can be found on the Biotility website under the exam administration documents. After logging in, users will see their dashboard, which contains a tile for each course that they are enrolled in. Before we continue into the BASE Practice Exam course, it's worth noting that UF eLearning is a Canvas-based LMS. Users who are familiar with Canvas will be familiar with the features demonstrated here. If you want more information concerning Canvas basics, they have an excellent community resource website that provides instruction on controlling notifications, files, modules, assignments, and other features available in the BASE Practice Exam course. All users will begin their experience on the course homepage. However, the course may look very different depending on your level of access or assigned role. We are currently looking at the Teaching Assistant view. The Teaching Assistant role has control over all aspects of the course. They can create, revise, delete content, and can even interact with and, of course, grade students. The student role can read content, participate in course activities, submit assignments, and take quizzes. Please note that all users, meaning both exam site personnel and candidates, enroll through the same enrollment link, and therefore all users are initially designated as students. Once enrolled, the exam site personnel may be promoted to the teaching assistant role. Notice the left sidebar menu options and how next to some options you see an I with a slash through it. This icon indicates that the menu is hidden from the students. Let's review the menu options that both you as a teaching assistant and your students can see. Home is simply the course homepage. Modules contains all course content. The modules are organized in such a way to help the student progress through the course. We will review the available modules and their content later in this tutorial. Grades opens the grade book, which allows you to easily view student results. Note that whenever you open the grade book, it's not uncommon to lose the left sidebar menu. To return to the original view, select the menu in the left-hand corner. Our last three menu options, quizzes, honor lock, and files, they all serve as shortcuts to the content within the modules menu. Quizzes contains an alphabetical list of all assignment quizzes, practice quizzes, and surveys. Honor lock provides a list of all quizzes that could be honor lock enabled. Teaching assistants should not change any of the settings under this menu option. Files contains all images and documents which students are asked to interact with throughout the course. All files are linked within the modules. However, students and teaching assistants can access them directly through this menu option. Now that we've covered the basics of navigating through the base practice exam course, let's take a quick tour of all the content within the modules menu. There are 7 modules available, the first 6 of which include competence activities, multiple practice exams, and additional study resources. The 7th module contains career development activities and resources. These are intended to help candidates enter the industrial biotechnology workforce. Let's take a quick look at each of these modules, the first of which is the base information module. This module starts with the course description, which provides a brief overview of all the modules in the course. Next are 2 candidate information bulletins, one for each test administration option. Each bulletin contains essential information candidates need to prepare for the exam. Exam sites should ensure that candidates review the correct document for their administration format. And lastly, the sample HonorLock enabled exam. Candidates taking the base through the remote testing option should use this sample exam to ensure their computer meets the minimum testing requirements. Our next module is the Learning Objective Competence Activity module. In this module, candidates are presented with 9 unique surveys that list the subcategories covered within each base category. Candidates are asked to rank how well they understand each objective. Teaching assistants may use the results to predetermine knowledge gaps within their class. The core of all available modules are the base practice exam modules. We offer 2 practice exam modules, and in these modules, candidates are presented with 9 unique base category quizzes that represent the general content encountered on the knowledge and the practical portions of the base. At the end of each quiz, a candidate has the opportunity to review their performance. Teaching assistants may use the results to determine the strengths and weaknesses of a single candidate or their entire class. For candidates struggling with the math covered on the exam, we have created the Additional Math Practice module. This module provides additional practice on scientific notation, significant digits, solution calculations, and much more. Our next module is the Additional Study Resource module. The content in this module may or may not be directly covered on the base. Please refer to the Base Study Materials and Resource Guide for a full and detailed list of the resources in this module. This module contains Biotilities CGMP Review, which is an overview of the regulations involved when working in a controlled environment, such as current good manufacturing practices and good documentation practices. It also contains information on the organization of a typical biotech company and the types of jobs therein. The remaining items in this module are links to publicly available biotech study guides, which offer an array of topics. Our final module is Stepping into the Biotech Workforce. The content in this module is not covered on the base. This module contains activities to jumpstart a candidate's career and connect them to the companies in the biotech industry. This module contains information on creating professional LinkedIn profiles, techniques for connecting to industry experts and finding jobs and internships, activities to prepare for an interview, and lastly, information on creating resumes, cover letters, and more. Now let's return to the top of the module list, collapse all the modules, and discuss a more advanced feature that will allow you to tailor these modules and their content to your exam site's needs. By default, all content is available to enrolled users. As a teaching assistant, you may hide content temporarily or permanently by unpublishing an entire module or part of a module. Let's use the base information module as an example. Exam sites who are administering the live testing option may want to turn off access to content specific to the remote testing option. To unpublish content, look for the green check mark, then simply click it to unpublish. Notice whenever you're unpublishing an attachment, additional options are available. Let's simply click Unpublish and select Update. Notice how the icon has now changed to the no symbol to indicate that it's now unpublished. Let's also go ahead and unpublish the sample Honor Lock enabled exam. Notice here we did not get a second option to choose between. Quizzes, pages, and links will all immediately unpublish, and you do not get any other options. In regard to quizzes, once the first user takes the quiz, it can no longer be unpublished. However, you can always turn an entire module off if you wish. You can always return to the screen and change these settings at any time. This feature is an excellent way to ensure students progress through the course at the pace you set. To demonstrate this, I'm going to turn off multiple modules. Let's turn off the Learning Objective Confidence activity and Practice Exam version B, and the additional math practice, and the additional study resources, and even stepping into the biotechnology workforce. Anytime you make changes to the course, we highly recommend that you review those changes in the student view to ensure that your students are seeing exactly what you intend them to. To see the student's perspective, return to the course homepage and click the Student View button. Student View creates a test student in your course through which you can interact. Notice that your students now only have access to the modules and items that you left published. Click the Leave Student View button in the purple ribbon to return to your teaching assistant role. Teaching assistants have access to multiple reports for their exam site. We will only review a few in this tutorial, but you are encouraged to explore all the features. The reports we will look at today are the gradebook and the quiz statistics. To view the gradebook, click on Grades in the left sidebar menu. We are currently in the gradebook view. This report displays candidate grades for each base practice exam, quiz, or assignment. The table offers an overview of a candidate's progression through the course and their performance on each quiz. At the end of the table, we can see that it also contains composite grades for Practice Exam A and Practice Exam B. The course total is produced by averaging Practice Exam A and B grades. It's worth noting here that the practice exam results have no bearing on a candidate's official base score. The scores within the base practice exam course are here to help exam sites assess their candidates' strengths and weaknesses. All the data in the grades report can be exported. To export grades, select Actions, and then select the Export option. The gradebook is an excellent resource, but for teaching assistants who are looking to gain a deeper understanding of a candidate's comprehension of specific biotech topics, we recommend looking at the quiz statistics. To view the quiz statistics, click the menu icon and then click Quizzes. Select the title of the quiz you want to open, and then click Quiz Statistics. Just a quick note before we progress. The features we are about to review are also available for the Learning Objective Confidence activity, but instead of quiz statistics, the menu option is named Survey Statistics. There are two features here that I would like to bring your attention to. The first is the quiz summary, which shows results for all candidates at your exam site, specifically their average score, high score, low score, standard deviation, and the average time to complete the quiz. In the quiz summary graph, the x-axis indicates the quiz scored percentages, and the y-axis indicates the number of candidates who received each percentage. Quiz summary will only display each candidate's highest grade. If a candidate had multiple attempts, past attempts are viewable in the Student Analysis Report. Below the quiz summary is the Question Breakdown Report. This report shows how your candidates performed as a group on a single item. The information in this section is quite detailed. The report contains the following information on each item on each quiz. It shows the number of times a question was answered out of the number of candidates who opened the quiz. We also see here the question stem and all the available answer options. Next, you'll notice that you'll see the percentage of candidates who selected each of those answer options. And finally, the percent of candidates who answered the question correctly. Clicking on the Respondents link provides the name of the candidates who selected an answer option. Because this data can help exam sites find and correct candidate weaknesses prior to testing, we strongly encourage you to create a plan to review and use this data produced from this report. For a more detailed description of the topics covered in this tutorial, please review our exam administration documents at the Biotility website.